Hey guys, so today I'm going to be teaching you about surface area. So, when this is going to be the surface area of a rectangular prism, which is going to be our first topic. So in words, it's just going to be the sum of the lateral faces and the sum of the bases. So in this, these two are the bases and these four are the lateral faces. This is what you like to call a net. So a net is a 2D representation of a 3D figure. As you can see, this is not 3D, it's not three-dimensional. This is two-dimensional as it is all flat. So we're going to need to draw this later on. So this is the net of a rectangular prism. I want you to memorize this. I want you to take a look at this as we're going to be doing this further on. Alright, for the algebraic formula, it's going to be S for surface area equals 2 times length times width plus 2 times length times height plus 2 times width times height. So next, we're going to be looking at our first example, which asks us to find the surface area of the prism, then draw a net. Our given values are 6 inches as a height, 3 inches as a width, and 5 inches as a length. Our formula we saw earlier. Then we're going to plug in our values, multiply them, simplify them even further, and then add them all up to get our 126 square inches. Now to draw a net. I told you earlier to take a look at that, and then I want you to pause the video, try to draw this out on your own, and then come back and to check if your figure was correct. Okay, now that you're back, this is what it should look like. These red highlighted boxes are the bases, and these four are the lateral faces. So now here we have two examples for you to try it in your own. Pause the video, try them out, then come back and then I'll give you the solution. Alright, now that you're back, for the first one, we're gonna write down our formula. Always, whenever you're starting a question, always write down the formula. Our given values are 4 feet as a height, 3 feet as a length, and 2 feet as a width. So we're gonna plug in those values in, multiply them to get 2 times 6 plus 2 times 12 plus 2 times 8. Then we're gonna add up those values to find a value of 52 feet squared. You can't forget the unit ever. So for the second one, we're gonna write down our formula, and we're given the values of 5 meters as a height, 8 meters as a width, and 8 meters as a length. We're gonna plug in our values, multiply them out to get 2 times 64 plus 2 times 40 plus 2 times 40. We're gonna further multiply them, then add them all up to get 288 meters squared. Now, this is going to be a general idea, or a key idea you could say. This is going to be the surface area of any type of prism. So any type of prism will always have a base and an area of a lateral face. So to find the surface area of any prism, it's just going to be the areas of the bases plus the areas of the lateral faces. So now moving on to our second example, which is finding the surface area of a triangular prism. So here we're asked to find the surface area of the prism, which is given here, the picture, and draw a net. So we're given the values of 6 meters as a height, 4 meters as a length, and 3 meters as a base. So for the triangle, the values are going to be 3 meters as a base and 4 meters as a height. For a triangular prism, we don't exactly have a set formula as a rectangular prism, but we do know the general idea, which is going to be the areas of the bases, which are the triangles, and then the areas of the lateral faces. So first, we're going to start off by finding the area of the two bases. So then we're going to write down our formula, which is going to be 1/2 base times height times 2. So the area of a triangle is right here, and the times 2 is because there are two bases. Next, we're going to plug in our values of 3 meters as the base and 4 meters as the height. Multiply them. The 2 and the 1/2 will cancel, giving us just 1, and 1 times 12 is just 12 meters squared. Next, we're going to find the area of the first lateral face, which is the blue face. It's going to be area equals length times width, or 6 times 4, and then it's going to be 24 meters squared. Next, we're going to find the area of the second lateral face, which is the green face right here. It's going to be area equals length times width, 6 times 3. So a rectangle has parallel sides, which means that the lengths will be equal on both sides. So for example, the width here and here, these lengths are going to be equal, and here, these lengths are going to be equal. Therefore, giving us that the area of the lateral face, the green face, has a height of 6 meters, or the length of 6 meters. We're going to multiply those two values together to get 18 meters squared. Now finally, before I move on to the next slide, we're going to want to find out the values, which is going to be 5 meters and 6 meters as our last lateral face. We're going to get area equals length times width, multiply our values together of 6 times 5, which gives us 30 meters squared. Now that we found out the values of all the separate figures, we need to find out the total surface area. So we're just going to multiply all our values together, which gives us 84 meters squared. So now to draw a net. The net of a triangular prism is no different than the net of a rectangular prism, as just one difference. There are not 4 lateral faces, but 3. So as I said, just practice this. Be careful when you're drawing this, and with more practice, this will come naturally. Now an example for you to try out on your own. Pause the video, try out the example, and then come back and I'll give you the solution. Alright, so first let's start off by finding the area of both the bases. So it's going to be 2 times 1/2 base times height. The base will be 5 meters and the height will be 12 meters. Plug in our values, multiply the 5 and 12 to give us 60, and then multiply the 2 and 1/2, which just gives us 1, to get a final value of 60 meters squared. Now to find the area of the first lateral face, which is this face right here. It's going to be length times width, 13 times 3, which gives us 39 meters squared. And then next, the area of the second lateral face, which will be length times width, 12 times 3, so the lateral face in the back, and it's going to be 36 meters squared. And now for the area of the third lateral face, which is all the way in the back right here, it's going to be length times width, 5 times 3, 15 meters squared. And then now we're going to find the total surface area, which is just going to be all the values summed up together. It's going to be 90 meters as all the values right here, and then 60 meters as the first value right here. We add both of them up to get 150 meters squared. Okay, now we're going to be taking a look at a cube. So a cube has all dimensions are equal. So we can define a cube as all sides being equal. So yeah, given right here. When all the edges of a rectangular prism have the same length as the rectangular prism is a cube. The formula for the surface area of a cube is S surface area equals 6s squared. S squared will be the length, and then 6 for the different sides of the cube. So different faces of the cube. Okay, so example 3. Here we are asked to find the surface area of a cube. So there we're not asked to draw a net here, so just the surface area. So we know the formula, which is S equals 6s squared. S here is 12. We're gonna substitute our value of 12 here. It's gonna be 12 squared, which is 144 times 6. And we multiply both of them together to get 864 meters squared. So before we move on to our final example, I wanted to talk about the lateral surface area of any prism. So the sum of the areas of the lateral faces, that's the lateral surface area. So as we saw in the rectangular prism, we saw that it had 2 bases and 4 lateral faces. And in the triangular prism, we saw that it had 2 bases and 3 lateral faces. So the lateral surface area indicates that we don't need to find the area of the bases. We just need to find the areas of the lateral faces, sum them up to get the final value of the lateral surface area. Now moving on to a real life application. The outsides of purple traps are coated with glue to catch emerald ash borers. You make your own trap in the shape of a rectangular prism with an open top and bottom. What is the surface area that you need to coat with glue? Find the lateral surface area. So, as we talked earlier, the lateral surface area is the area of all the lateral faces without the bases. So our given values here are 20 inches as the height, 10 inches as the width, and 12 inches as the length. So the formula is going to be the same as a rectangular prism without the area of the bases. The area of the bases would have been 2 times length times width. But as you can see, we're missing that here since we do not need to calculate that. So we can plug in our values that are given right here, multiply them, and then sum them up to get a final value of 880 inches squared as a lateral surface area. So now we have covered all the topics that we needed to cover, and there are some practice problems right here for you to do. So there are nine problems right here. They go over each of the topics that we talked about earlier. So here are the surface area of the cubes, the surface area of the rectangular prisms right here, and the surface area of the triangular prisms right here. And if you wanted to do more practice, more than this, there is some more right here. There are word problems, and they're given in work right here. So in words right here, so you can read this, try to do this. This is not necessary. This is a little bit more advanced than what we did learn earlier. So give it a try, and good luck. And I hope you enjoy the video, and I will see you next time.